Alright, so this is the next one in the little series I'm doing of my attempts to get to Ascension 20 on the Defect. This time I will level Ascension level 14, so go for the whale again, get a free. Whereas the pocket watch, really like that one. You don't always trigger it every turn, but when you do, 3 extra cards, certainly if you've got a nice trim deck, really does help you out. Now for this one, as you'll go through, you'll see I do a style that I don't normally tend to lean towards, and that's this sort of Ice Fortress style you can do out of the Defect, where you basically get lots of the frost cards, get the ice orbs, and then basically give yourself a really high block each turn. I guess it's not something I normally do. I've never been terribly successful with it, but it didn't actually pay out this time. So as you see, that's that frost card we just picked up, the cool headed. So we've now starting to head towards orbs because we've got both the ball lightning and the cool headed, plus of course the evocation dual cast and zap, and we've got a defrag. So that's nice. Add another chill, and already we're heading well into frost, and with the extra focus, starting to get quite good value out of these orbs. Yeah, I often find in many of the runs I'm doing, certainly the higher Ascension levels, that it's these early encounters and this sort of first act that really sort of set where your deck is, because you just don't have a lot of time to alter it later on, and you want to keep your deck focused. You want to keep it trim and on doing what it's doing. As you can see here, Pocket Watch is coming in every now and then to give us just this huge hands to manipulate to make sure we can see it through that turn onto the next. And then sometimes I'll deliberately keep myself only on doing 3 actions if that extra 4th action isn't really gonna help. But yeah, as I say, it's really these early sort of Act 1 enemies and relics that set the tone. Yeah, here you see we're bitting up on this Lagavulin, and the frost orbs just keep going round and round and round, getting evoked, giving us more and more block. And there's a glacier, which is basically a huge amount of block, representing 7 from the card itself plus 2 orbs. There you go. Again, you can see we're now set up. We're drawing 8 cards a turn off an only 16 card deck, and getting blocks in the 20s each time. Of course, the downside to this kind of deck, I find, is that you spend a lot of turns achieving not a lot on the attack front other than staying alive. Versus some mobs, that's just not great. I mean, here's loot is another good one. It's not great to do that because eventually it will just disappear with all your money. There we go, just make the chill innate, so that's going to be at least 1 frost orb, if not 3, straight off the bat. There you go, there's a good start versus these. Defrag and the chill. Straight into a 9 defense each turn. get a defrag up so you have even more focus. Yeah, I mean, normally a Lagavulin will get some damage through each turn, but yeah, we were chucking out sort of well over 20 block each turn. It didn't get it didn't get any damage through at all. Cold Snap, very useful. That's one. It's one of the few cards that is both an attack and frost. Yeah, so doing something for both the defense and the offense. Yeah, I should mention that we've got both the Bag of Preparation and the Centennial Puzzle and the Pocket Watch, giving us effectively all the card draw in the world. 7 in the first turn, and then 3 for each extra turn that we don't play more than 3, and then 3 after we get hit. So we can pretty much very quickly get through this deck, and then just keep on redrawing and redrawing. Five slimes. Don't often see that. Yeah, tough choice here between the machine learning and electrodynamics. Electrodynamics, I've mentioned in the past, I really like for the crowd control, but machine learning would lean in towards all this card draw we've got. Nope. Machine learning, here we go. Of course, the problem now is if we get, we only cast free actions and get hit and under machine learning, we're actually going to run out of hand size. It's going to be too much for the hand. Yeah, I took the boot sequence because until you actually get that sort of frost orb cycling around and it being evoked, you can be vulnerable to some of the attacks that's in that first turn. Not obviously in this one. This one we got over 9 first turn of only 6, and was able to block it from Wellfrost. Irony being, of course, electrodynamics might have been useful versus these. Yeah, although 2 glaciers in the deck now, when we're into this sort of cycling stage now, we're fairly reliably going to get a glacier, which was putting us onto 30 block, which solves most problems. Yeah, an anchor again for that first turn protection, but also a loop, which is going to trigger on. On a frost orb to give us that extra bit of protection. Removed one of the defends. We don't really need that many defends. I've been removing them when I can. You've got all this block from ice that you don't need to spend a card to get it, because the block you get from a defend is the same as you get from an evoked ice orb. Yeah, this fella's attacks are getting pretty large here at 66 incoming. And a data disk, not too bad about the video, but the data disk is more focus for all those ice orbs. So if you get the defrag out and the data disk, each orb is going to be 5 block, which is just as good as a card, and 8 when it gets evoked. We also picked up a bullseye. We're still using quite a bit of lightning orbs as well, so that just adds their extra bit of damage when you either wait at the end of turn or when you evoke them. Yeah, much like the Goblin Knob in Act 1, this is the boss I often hate the most, just because it just continually kicks out damage and it ramps its damage. I tend to like decks that set themselves up, and of course all that time where they're setting themselves up, this guy's just doing more and more and more damage. So I'm just trying to obviously get my own sort of defense lineup set up, but also waiting to see just at what point do I have to really kick in the defences and use the potion and basically mitigate his damage, which it's going to be fairly soon. He's got, there you go, weakened for 3 turns, because he just couldn't take that anymore. And he wasn't dead. He was nowhere near dead. He wasn't going to be dead in that turn or the next turn. So needed a couple of turns, not taking that huge amount of damage. Fortunately, the next turn it was only going to do 18 anyway, but we managed to kill it. We got lucky and we killed it. Yeah, and a relief that one's out of the way. Yeah, we've got the cables acting much like a loop. We've got the dream catcher so we can possibly get some keys when we rest, and of course a mango for some extra hits. Yeah, the cables are nice. The rest is kind of I'll take them, but they're not really helping this deck or its strategy. there you go, as predicted. I got hit, and I'd already used the pocket watch, so my hand was way too much. Couldn't draw them all. So yeah, we've upgraded machine learning so that we get it as an innate now. It all just helps at that sort of 5 armor or block straight off the bat for each. Frost Orb means it's really hard for a mob now in the first few turns once we set up to get through. And mobs like this, which don't really escalate other than that occasional strength buff, we can very quickly start to outpace their damage output capability. Yeah, he didn't like his companion being killed, so he's up to 30. We still got, we managed 41 block, even though he's now doing 30. So yeah, it's not that I can't, that I don't use the Ice Fortress because I can't see its usefulness. As we can clearly see at this point, we're getting some monstrously large block values. But for whatever reason, I just never get it to work for me. Except obviously this time, as you probably realise, I don't bother showing all the failures, the many failures. So we are going to complete Ascension 14 with this. But yeah, this sort of Ice Fortress technique just never seems to work for me. This time around, I think it's the sheer amount of card draw that's giving me this huge toolbox of cards each turn. So we can make sure we do actually set up this Ice Fortress. Yeah, we're routinely only using 3 cards a turn. There's very few turns now when I'm doing more than that. I mean, we're only on 3 energy a turn, so it's very hard to do more than that. There's not that many 0 cost cards in the deck. Well, 74. I think that would be problematic if we weren't about to kill it, but we do have to think a moment about how we're going to do enough damage to it. There we go, electrodynamics back. So we've got it after all. Yeah, I contemplated the battery, but in the end, as we're only trying to stick to 3 cards anyway, I thought the plasma would go very, very quickly. No, I thought it'd be better just to take the lizard tail in case something disastrous happens. I must admit, I can't recall ever actually winning after having to use a lizard's tail. I think by the point you were using it, you're already so far in trouble that it doesn't help. But it's insurance. Yeah, I had to lose something. Of course, of course, losing a card and thinning your deck isn't actually a bad thing. It's like, as long as you choose a weaker card than average. Unfortunately, there's not many weak cards in this. To a certain extent, we need the damage from the strike because so many of the cards are focused on setting up the defense. Yeah, I wasn't originally going to get the smooth stone, but then I realised it does still work off the glacier, even though we've kind of got rid of all the defends now. Oh yes, and a go through the eyes. Just find it useful. I mean, obviously we've got to always block and very sort of reactive defense, but sometimes you just save yourself more damage on a big attack by just putting the weakness debuff on them. There you go, case in point. Yeah, I was trying to get the defrag there. It didn't happen. I had to wait for the next turn. Yeah, taking our time on that, and the deck was probably 50% burns by the end of it. Yeah, it's probably going to be trouble for this deck. It doesn't have a high damage output. It doesn't have many attack cards. It doesn't have many zero cost cards, so it's just not going to be doing a lot of damage to him. And so yeah, because once you're out these first few sort of attacks and actions, he starts to ramp up his damage quite fast. Yeah, here we go. He's putting 5 damage on a go. Got to try and keep that weakness on him. Possibly have to just rely on cold snaps. And there you go. Use the dexterity potion. Been trying to avoid it if I could, but it looks like I need it just to squeeze past, get it past him. I would have been dead at that turn if I hadn't, I think. Yeah, emotion chip. If they do get past our wall of ice, they'll trigger all the orbs. It's going to be truly ludicrous block for the next turn, probably. The orichalcon's pretty much redundant. It's 6 if I haven't played Glacier, I guess, an extra 6. The useful thing about orichalcon, of course, is it does trigger before the orbs, so you could have a whole vast array of ice waiting to go, and you still get the orichalcon for an extra 6. Yeah, I probably didn't really need another chill at this point. Okay, another one last elite before the main boss. Got lucky there in electrodynamics, so obviously you can play the electrodynamic, then trigger the chill, and blow up the 2 minions. Oh yeah, picked up a buffer again, just because, getting a bit paranoid that there are sometimes when this massive wall of ice doesn't do the job. Yeah, and there we go, we've upgraded the go for the eyes, we're into the boss. This time around we're playing this boss. We don't have many powers at all, so that damage is going to stay fairly minimal. We've played one of the ones we want to play, the machine learning. We'll play the defrag in a moment, and then that'll be it. So I got kind of friendly boss for this deck, really. I say the loop and the electrodynamics are nice, but they weren't actually essential. Played it because it all killed one of the minions. But yeah, the boss's sort of output damage, his strength is still only at +5. So he's kicking out sort of 25s to 30s, well within this deck's Ice Fortress ability to block. So now it's just a case of gently whittling him down. Keep the orb cycling. Alright, play the mayhem. So not even bothered that much now. No, his 2 minions are out of the way. Even with a little bit of +7 strength, his damage is still well within the block capability of all the ice we're generating. Oh well, 47. There might be a few turns we can't do that. We just have to keep him weakened as well. And if needs be, we keep cycling that boot sequence as well. He actually managed to sneak some damage past that time, so he triggered the emotion chip. Yeah, I mean, he keeps putting voids in our deck now, so we're down to 2 energy a turn. Doesn't really bother us. Play 1 card or 2. Get enough to block to defend against him, just wait it out. Not the quickest way to beat this boss. But yeah. There we go. So that was the Ascension 14 done with the defects, with the Ice Fortress. Fairly neat, that one. I think the most reason, was the Ice Fortress, but also that huge amount of card draw we're getting off 3 different relics, all combining so that we'd have maximum hand sizes almost each turn on a deck. They didn't get too large and unwieldy, so we had all our tools each turn to keep the defense high from the orbs. Alright, well, on to Ascension 15.